Hey Rudy, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. We sure can.
Hello.
Hello, hi. Glad to be back, relaxing. You see my picture now?
Okay, hang on just a second. I must have the wrong speaker pulled up. I do.
Yeah.
Okay, now try. Hello.
Hello, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now because I got my the correct speaker on.
Yeah, no,
Where are you in front of the rocks there? Is that Tennessee?
no, where's this?
No, Pennsylvania.
It's Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's called,
Okay.
what's it called?
Bushkill Falls.
Bushkill Falls.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
it's a weird name.
Yeah. Well, glad you're back home.
I don't have to ask you if you had a good time. I know you did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Larry had more, but I guess she likes to be brave and, she went under the water at the Niagara Falls because we paid to go up close. And
Yeah.
you can literally like get under.
Oh yeah, I know. I've done that. I've done
Yeah,
that.
I paid to get in. I ain't about to get all wet either. So Gloria did.
Oh, you chicken.
Yeah.
You're just no fun.
Gloria was all in. It was fun. We enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
When we went to Israel, the snows were melting from the mountains and coming down the Jordan River. And at the place where we were at, I mean, it was like they had built a wharf type sidewalk that you walk along, and man, that water was splashing up. You got drenched in freezing cold water. It was exhilarating to know that you were getting drenched in the Jordan River. It
Wow.
was just that I'll always remember that. Yeah.
All right. Well, I got another couple of things to do here, I think. So, okay. Okay, let's see. All right. So where's my
Yeah, Rabbi, how you doing? Got your recording on?
I do. I've got my
Okay, I see it now.
yeah, I got my recording on. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to my camera. Am
Okay.
I
Yeah, you're showing,
Okay.
but you're looking for another camera?
well, it's just so that I can see I don't know what it's doing.
Okay, well we can see
I've got
you.
it clicked on speaker, but when it's not um, for some reason it's not pulling up. It doesn't really matter because I know what I look like, so I don't
Yeah.
really I don't need it. But all right, well that's okay as long as everybody you can see the screen that I'm sharing, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Or no?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I
both.
can
We can
see it.
see you and the screen you're sharing.
Yeah.
Okay, you should be just seeing the screen and not me. Well, yeah, maybe a little picture of me. I don't know.
Got a little picture of you with a nice green shirt on.
And
With a
except
yellow
that it's
hat.
navy blue.
Rabbi, are you able to hear me?
I am.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Well, good evening.
Good evening. Now, where
Uh,
are you? Where are you now?
I'm in Houston, but my brother from Arizona is going to be joining us in Torah class.
Okay, cool beans. Cool
He's
beans.
coming
All
from a
right.
Catholic background, so he's interested to
Okay.
hear what's going to go on.
All right. Well, I'll try not to be too weird tonight. Okay.
All right. Yeah. I think you'll be just fine.
Okay. All right. So it says I'm screen. This is crazy because it say I'm screen sharing, but at the same time, it's saying I'm not. Another thing is saying I'm not. It doesn't matter. All right. If you can see the book of Jeremiah, the screen there, then that's all that counts. I don't, the rest of it doesn't make any difference. And as long as I can see my script, then I'm good. All right. So I think we're just about ready to go tonight. And I'm just checking with my screen here and seeing, yeah, I don't see any new names on here. So okay, now Warren, did you get the did you see the blog that I published this morning?
Yes, I did. Thank you very much.
Okay, because I put you and Carl DeBlitz on there, and I couldn't think of anybody else that was in the class that wasn't well. And there he is. Speaking of Carl, there he is. Tried to, because everybody that's in Tree of Life, they already get this stuff. And so I was just trying to make sure that the folks that joined in from other parts of the country would get it too. So, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. And we'll get, this is not a long chapter, but yes, sir. Okay. I hear you, Carl. You're on. So. Okay, so I guess I need to do my muting, don't I? Mute everybody, and then you know the rules. If you got something to say, put up your hand or unmute yourself or throw something through my screen, something like that. All right, let's go ahead and begin with the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe. Sanctifies us with its commandments and commands us to engross ourselves in the words of Torah. All right, so we're going to be doing chapter 18 tonight, and of course that's the famous chapter of the potter. And we had, and many of you have, it's a very familiar chapter in most Christian circles. And anyway, for anybody that may haven't been, I don't see anybody new here. So you've all seen the screens, and so let's go on. All right, so here's the modular breakdown of chapter 18. And the verses 1 through 4 is a picture of God's divine sovereignty over the nations. Sure, it's the picture of the potter and the clay, and and all of the songs, the images, and everything that go along with that. But that's what it really is talking about is God's sovereignty over the nations. And then verses 5 to 10 is a principle of conditional judgment. And the conditional judgment is kind of gives people a ray of hope if you when you read that. And so I also see that Ed and Colette are on YouTube tonight. They're not on. They're watching us through YouTube. So you'll have to let me know how that turns out, what it looks like, and if you have any comments or questions over there on YouTube, well, it's over there all the way to the right. I won't answer it. Okay, and then verses 11 to 12. Judah's stubborn rebellion after God gives them kind of a buy on on some of their activities. And then verses 13 through 17 just talks about the folly, the utter folly of forsaking God and going against his will. And then finally, it talks a little bit about the conspiracy against Jeremiah. And so let's go ahead then. Are there any comments or questions that anyone has prior to jumping into this? Anything from last week or something else that you've looked at on this class? Okay, well, anyway, it's good to have Rudy and Gloria back with us after a 2-week absence. They've been on vacation, went to New Jersey, and then went up to some place in, I don't know how close you are to Niagara Falls, Warren, but they went to Niagara Falls, and so that's always a fun thing to do. And so I'm glad to see them back. So all right, so let's go ahead with our verses here. Verses 1 to 4. The word came to Jeremiah from Adonai, saying, Arise and go down to the potter's house, and there I will cause you to hear my words. So I went down to the potter's house, and there he was making a work on the wheels. Whenever the pot that he was making from the clay became flawed in the hand of the potter, he remade it into another pot as it pleased the potter to make. All right. So in this picture here, this is a picture of a potter's wheel, an ancient potter's wheel. Okay. And it certainly doesn't look like the potter's wheels that we have today, where you've got a little motor and a belt that goes to a pulley, and it turns the wheel, and all that kind of stuff. And here's another picture of a reconstructed potter's wheel that probably is even more uptown than the one we just showed you, and so that the guy could actually sit on that thing and then turn the wheel with his feet. And I can't imagine being able to turn that thing fast enough to really make a cool looking pot or something like that. But that's what they used back in the time that Jeremiah would have been writing this book. And that just, they'd sit on that pot, straddle that pot where that or straddle that let me use my pointer here, straddle this little bench here, and then use their feet to make the thing go around. And then here's the potting wheel up here where you'd put the lump of clay and then shape it. All right, so still it's pretty crude stuff. And can you just imagine sitting straddle of that one board for any length of time? That would be a little bit tedious after a while, and tedious on the tuchus. All right, so anyway, God commanded Jeremiah to go down to the potter's house. Now the wording here, to go down, is exactly it's a metaphor for Israel's spiritual condition, because they had gone down, they had descended, and they are in the depths. And so the potter's workshop here then becomes more or less a prophetic classroom where Jeremiah will, he will be able to see a message as well as look at it and or as hear it and feel it and all that. So it's a sensuous lesson in that he uses several senses. So certainly, if you've ever been into doing pottery, that sort of stuff, that clay has a smell to it, and of course the feel of shaping the clay. It's always pretty neat. I've enjoyed that. What little bit I've ever done of it, it was fun, and then. Just the water and the clay and everything. It's very tactile, and it's kind of fun. But then it talks about the word that is used in the verse 3 there. It's the Hebrew word is ovnayim, and that means two stones. He would work the two stones, and it was the double stone wheel system that I showed you the pictures of, and that so this detail of the two stones emphasizes a kind of an intentional craftsmanship. And so the vessel then in verse 4 it becomes ruined, and the word, the Hebrew word there is nishkat, and it just means ruined or not usable, or it's just not right. And it's not because the potter did anything wrong and messed things up. It was because the clay itself was resistant. And sometimes you can get clay that it will do right, and then it'll shape. It just feels right, and it's not too limber, and it doesn't have any clumps or lumps and rocks and stuff in it, and it's just and then other times the clay could be maybe contaminated with maybe a few pebbles here and there, or there's sand in it, it's coarse. And so when the pot becomes ruined, nishkat, it's because the clay itself was defective and it was resistant. And but the potter then, well, it says, that's not going to work. And he takes the clay, and he can, put it all back together again, and throw it back on the, kind of mix it up again, throw it back on the wheel, and then reshape it into something, and possibly make something that would fit the type of clay, the consistency of the clay, and what it would look, what it felt like, and so forth. And the Hebrew word for that is kasher yashar, and it means just what seemed right to the potter. And so here the theological point in all of that is that God retains absolute authority. It's up to him how he shapes the pottery, as it will, the nations, because then the nations will respond to his will, and God does not respond, he does not respond to the will of the nations as such. So that's the lesson here from the potter. All right, so going ahead with verses 5 to 10. Then the word of Adonai came to me, saying, O house of Israel, can I not do with you as a potter does, declares Adonai? Because as the clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, O house of Israel. At one moment I may speak about a nation or about a kingdom to uproot or pull down or destroy it. But if that nation turns from their evil because of what I have spoken against it, I will relent concerning the calamity that I plan to do to it, or at another time may speak about a nation or a kingdom to build it up and to plant it. But if it does evil if it does evil in my sight, not listening to my voice, then I will relent of the good that I had said I would do it. So what we have here is we have a tale of two nations, hypothetically, and so God is applying this object lesson, the metaphor of the potter, to himself, and he's he can reshape the clay, just how he wants it, and makes it fits it to what the clay consistency is. He can also take nations and shape them how he wants to. And he may shape China different than he does Guatemala, and he may shape Russia different than he may shape India. God is the one that can shape these nations and do with what he wants. And so in the Hebrew there, the word that they use for the pliable, correct kind of clay that can be molded and should be molded, it's chomer, and it just means a pliable clay. And so here God is revealing a principle. If he announces a judgment against a nation, but the nation repents, he will relent actually from the disaster, and he's going to be moved. In Hebrew, it's nicham. I will be moved with compassion to reconsider, to relent. It's not because God is fickle. He's not fickle, but he is responsive to people and their relationship with him. And I think of the city of Nineveh, where Jonah was supposed to go, and he didn't want to go because Nineveh was the head of the capital city of Assyria, and Assyria had destroyed the 10 tribes, the 10 northern tribes. And so Jonah did not want to have anything to do with going up there, because he knew this principle that if he went up there and preached and they repented, God was more than likely going to relent and postpone his judgment against Nineveh. And Jonah was having none of it. No, he thought he knew better, and that this is what he was going to do. He wasn't going to go up there to Nineveh. He wanted God to judge him. So then you have in verses 9 and 10, I guess it would be the converse of it, and that if God had blessed a nation like Israel, like Judah, and in other cases, he had blessed nations, but that nation then turns to evil, then the good that he had considered, the blessings that he had considered for these nations, is going to change. They're if they go against God, then the curses that come with that are going to be visited upon that particular nation. And so God's actions then are totally consistent with his character and the moral condition of the people. So all right, Comments or questions? Okay, so Jeremiah 18:11-12. So now speak to the people of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus says Adonai, I'm about to bring calamity against you and devise disaster against you. Turn back now, everyone from his evil way, and amend your ways and your doings. But they say, it's hopeless. So we will walk after our own plans, and each of us will act in the stubbornness of his evil heart. Oh, wow. Okay, so Jeremiah is commanded to warn Judah and Jerusalem that, look, I'm fashioning a disaster, fashioning a disaster against you. And the same word, same verb used for the potter underscores that coming judgment. And it's a deliberate act of divine craftsmanship. God can craft things for good. He can craft things for not so good, for judgment, for discipline. And God is calling them to turn back, or shuvu. And the idea of repenting is called teshuvah, and to shuvu from their evil ways. And so this is just classic prophetic Hebrew literature or language, and it's the classic language of repentance. And so Judah's response is quite frankly, it's very defiant. It's shockingly defiant. They said, "Nah, it's hopeless. We're hopeless. We're just." And I've heard, I've actually run into people like that. Said, "No, God can't do anything with me. I just am who I am, and that's all that I am." And then you expect them to say, "I'm Popeye the Sailor Man." Boop boop. No, I've actually had people say, "No, God can't." I'm over. I'm past it. There's nothing that God can do with me now, because I'm all over it and done with anything. And so here's what Judah was saying: "Hey, it's hopeless. We're way too gone with our sin, and so as a result, we're just going to do our own thing. We'll just kind of just go on along, and so we're going to basically they're going to double down." And for the Hebrew to our plans are fixed. That you can't change our plans. That the Hebrew that convey the word is nikvu, and it's just says our plans are fixed. And they say the stubbornness. They chose stubbornness of their evil heart. And just where they just, they're not going to change that stubbornness, the shererut of their evil heart. It's a recurring theme throughout Jeremiah, as you'll see. We've already seen it in 18 chapters. You'll see it all throughout the next 30, 40 some odd chapters. So basically it said, we're going to double down and just keep on going in our sin. That's just who we are. That's what we do. And so very, very shocking, I guess, and such a glib kind of response by Judah is terrible. It's just absolutely terrible. So going on to chapter 13, or verse 13, it says, "Therefore, thus says Adonai, ask now among the nations, whoever has heard such things. The Virgin of Israel has done a most terrible thing. Does the snow of Lebanon abandon the rock of the field?" And I haven't changed my screen over here. I'm sorry. Or is the cold water flowing afar pulled back? Yet my people have forgotten me. They burn incense to a delusion and stumble in their ways off the ancient paths to walk side tracks rather than build up highway. Their land becomes a horror, a perpetual hissing. Everyone passing by will be stunned and shake his head. Like an east wind, I will scatter them before the enemy. I will see their back, not their face, in the day of their calamity. All right. So God is declaring here that the nations, look at all the nations around. They're going to look at Israel or Judah, and they're astonished. What happened to them? Because remember, it wasn't but a few, it was 400 years ago, but when the nations would stream to Jerusalem just for the off chance of being able to hear Solomon and some of his wisdom with some of his court cases. So now we look at Jeremiah's time, and Israel is now at a point where, and soon going to be even worse, where the nations, all these pagan nations, were going to look around this and say, wow, look what happened to this people, the people that are called God's chosen people. Just what a mess they're in. And so when Jeremiah uses the imagery there of the snow and the cool mountain waters, it's a symbol of reliability and purity. And so Judah has abandoned what is constant and life-giving. And I tell you what, it's kind of, I can relate to this because I've been in Israel. Pat and I were talking about it just tonight, or she was talking to someone about it. The idea of the cold water coming from the snow melt of Mount Hermon and up in the northern part of Israel and the southern part of Lebanon. That water coming down from the snow melt, it's crystal clear, it's cold. I mean, it is really cold. If you get up far north, in the very far north, and we went, I was up there right at the bottom of Mount Hermon where the water's coming down, and it's actually, boy, it builds up and it floods a little bit with the snow melt, and it goes over this waterfall, and of course it's not as fantastic as Niagara, because it's just, that's not the way it was built, but God built it. But it's still a lot of water going over, and the mist and the splash and everything. It's just wonderful because the temperature away from the Jordan and away from this cold water, it was hot as blazes out there that day. And so then you could walk there along the river, and they've got a platform out there that goes up to the waterfall, and it's just very cool and refreshing and pure, and just you breathe it in, you think, now this is paradise. And so but then what God is saying about Israel is that the Israelites, or the people of Judah and Jerusalem, they have forsaken, or left behind all of this beautiful water, cold, clear water, and the purity of that. And it's Ya'azov, to forsake and to leave behind, Ya'azov. And God said, "The people have forgotten me. They burn incense to these worthless things out there, the Havel, and the word it means vapor or emptiness and futility." So God's saying, these guys are burning incense to nothingness. It's just a mist. It's just a fog out there. Nothing concrete. And then their idolatry led them to ancient paths, the Netivot Olam. It's where they're following the little g gods of Canaan instead of the one true God. So these paths that they're on, it's all twisted and it's a mess. Chanel, you got your mic open.
Yes, Rabbi Steve, can I ask a question about the incense? Is it the Judean they use the altar that sacrifice to you hey Adonai, or they use
No.
other stuff to burning incense?
Oh no, they would burn their own type of incense because the
Okay.
incense that was burned in the temple was special. It was what's the word crafted comes to mind, but it was a mixture of all sorts of different spices and things that go to. There was a specific recipe, and there was the way I understand it in Yeshua's time anyway, there was a family that they basically had the contract to craft the incense. And of course, the Bible, God said that this incense that you make for the temple worship cannot be crafted by anyone else. It can't be used for any other purposes other than for the service in the temple. And what these people would do, they'd just take other incense. In our world today, we've got lots of different types of incense.
Mhm.
A lot of nations will use incense in their celebrations. Well, as you well know, in the Chinese New Year, and you got your little altars with the family, stuff there, and you'll put incense, the little sticks of incense there. It's it's something that's crafted in that country. And those of you that are old enough will know that back in the day when we were teenagers, that was kind of the cool thing, is that you'd go to these parties and people would burn incense in the party. And I don't know, I guess it was kind of cool for a lot of people. For
Okay.
me, I just thought, oh, this is gaggy. And but no, it was not temple incense. If it was, then God certainly would have even mentioned that. But they were burning incense to the little g gods of Canaan up on the high places and in the groves and so forth. And so it would have been localized incense, but not the temple incense.
Thank you. And one more question. So,
Mhm.
is talk about the highway. Is it highway normally using for trading, like a trading road, or what happened that they are working in bypass, not using highways. They're using byways instead of highways.
Okay. Okay. So they burn incense to delusion and stumble in their ways off the ancient paths to walk on side tracks rather than a built-up highway. Well, what he's saying there is that the people, as a result of their error in who they're worshiping, their path is now kind of rocky and unsteady, and it's not the right way. Whereas if they were following the Lord, their path would be much more laid out and easy and straight, and it may be narrow, but it's straight, and it's if you follow God's word, you know what to expect. You know what you're supposed to be doing. And so that's why he's saying that, you stumbled and gotten off of the ancient paths. The ancient path, meaning the paths that were laid down in Torah, say from Sinai, and then where the prophets have tried to get the people back onto the straight and narrow, but no, they wandered off into these little paths, and if you've ever gone hiking in places, they got the hiking trails, and depending on where you're hiking, the hiking trails themselves can be a little bit difficult, but sometimes you decide, oh wow, I wonder what this little trail goes off onto, and you follow onto that little trail, and it turns out that it's hard, it's rocky, it comes to a dead end, so you have to come all the way back, and it's not always easy. That's why they have hiking paths for people, and then that way hopefully people don't wander off onto these paths, and in many cases, or not many, but maybe in some cases, when people get onto these off the main path, off of the highway, and on these side roads, it becomes very dangerous for them, and they end up dying, in fact. So
they are using byway and the highway to example, they are not following God's way, right?
exactly. When they get off on these side roads, the side tracks, and not following the main highway, the built-up way, that's what they're talking about here.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Any other comments before we go on? Okay. So anyway, they talk about the land. It's going to be a horror. It's just going to be terrible. It's a Shema, not Shema, but it's Shama, and it's a perpetual hissing, like I don't know, like I read it, I look at like a snake. It's Shrekha, and it's just a kind of a thing. It's a sign of mockery and desolation. That's what the land is. This land of milk and honey is just going to turn into a land of I don't know, vinegar and castor oil or something. Who knows? But it's not going to be the good place that God had intended for Israel. And he says he's going to scatter them like before their enemy, like an east wind. This east wind that they talk about, Kadim, it's hot, it's destructive, it's symbolic of judgment, and it will show. He will show them his back. He's going to turn his back away from not his panim, his back, his akor, and this east wind that he talks about. It's a hot, blistering, forceful wind. If you've ever served or worked in the Middle East, that wind could come across there and just it's horrible, just blister you. And because I've actually seen that east wind where I can't remember. I think I was working in Qatar, and one of those things came through, and it sandblasted where the wind was coming from, and the sand, the dust. It literally sandblasted the paint off of parts of the drilling rig, took the paint right off and took it down to bare shiny metal. It was incredible. And it was absolutely miserable trying to work on the rig that night, I can tell you. So anyway, any other comments or questions as we go on here? We got just a little bit more. Okay, verse 18 to 20. Then they said, okay, then they said, come, let us devise plans against Jeremiah. Surely Torah from the Kohen will not be lost, nor will counsel from the wise, nor will the word from the prophet. Come, let's strike at him with the tongue and pay no attention to any of his words. And so this is, again, going on, it says, be attentive to me, Adonai. Listen to the voice of my opponents. Will good be repaid for evil? For they have dug a pit for my soul. Remember how I stood before you to speak good on their behalf, to turn your wrath from them. All right, so basically the people are plotting against Jeremiah. He says they devised plans against Jeremiah. They argue they don't need Jeremiah because we already have our priests, we got prophets, we got wise men. What do we need from Jeremiah? Because he's always telling us stuff that we don't want to hear. And, it's classic case. They don't like the message, so they set out to shoot the messenger. And so they are rejecting true prophecy in favor of their institutional religion, their liturgy, their comfort zone of getting up and doing the Tamid offering in the morning and Tamid offering in the evening, and the requisite prayers, all of that kind of stuff. And so, but Jeremiah is not having any of it. Or they're after him, and he says, "Hey, Lord, pay attention to me, listen to me." And he's appealing for divine judgment, justice against these guys. And he reminded, something. Okay, okay, Rand. And I don't know if this popped up like that because Randy did. My Zoom is doing some funny stuff tonight. I don't understand it, but anyway, Randy had said wind is strong and dangerous today at his apartment. A tree next to the parking lot was blown over and landed next to his car, but it wasn't, his car wasn't damaged by the storm that went through. But yeah, wind can be very dangerous. So here we go. All right. So here Jeremiah is just trying to, plead with God, said, look, in the past, I have pleaded for them. I have interceded for them, and I've sought their good. And now they're repaying me with my goodness and my mercy, interceding for them, with you, Lord. They're now just repaying me with evil. They're wanting to kill me. And later on they did throw him down into an old cistern. But here he is. The prophet is definitely he's definitely being persecuted, and he's asking God to take care of it. He is definitely what would you say? He is wanting to get back at him. He's acting like a man. He is acting like a human being here. So let's go on to the last 3 verses here. Therefore, give their children to famine and pour out the power of the sword. Let their wives be bereaved of children and widows, and let their men be slain to death and their young men struck down by the sword in battle. Let a cry be heard from their houses when suddenly you bring a troop on them, for they dug a pit to capture me and hid snares for my feet. Yet you know their whole plot, Adonai, against me, to slay me. Do not forgive their iniquity or blot out their sin before you, but make them stumble before you. Act against them in the time of your anger. Wow. So Jeremiah is showing his human side here. I mean, it's he's not the meek, mild prophet that just lets everything go. No, he's calling down hellfire and brimstone on these guys. And this you would say the language here is there's a word for it. It's called imprecatory, and it's you remember that David did some of the same kind of things. He called on God to just come down and blister the backsides of these Midianites and the Philistines and the whoever his enemies were. He's asking God to come down and just destroy them. Same thing that Jeremiah is doing. He is at one point the prophet that's telling the people how to avoid judgment, and then at the same time he's coming to God and saying, "Look, isn't this enough? I've done so much good for these people, and they are just coming down on me like wanting to kill me. And so, Lord, just take care of them, get rid of them, do something against them." And he asked God to don't forgive them of their sins. And of course, God had already said he wasn't going to do that, but Jeremiah is coming, doubling down. He says, and so, some of the commentators said, well, this is not personal vengeance; it's prophetic alignment with divine justice. Yeah, well, maybe so. It is that, but I look at it and said, Jeremiah is just a man, and he has run out of patience. He's tired. He's offended. He's looking at these people are trying to kill me all the time. And so, he finally kind of cracks a little bit and says, Lord, just get rid of them. I can just imagine Jeremiah pleading with God with his teeth gritted and just going after them. So, but the bottom line is, when these people make threats against God's personal prophet, his mouthpiece to them, who in this case, God commissioned Jeremiah even before he was conceived. Think about it that way. Jeremiah was set aside by God to be his spokesman and to preach this coming judgment even before he was born. And so when the people rebel against Jeremiah, they're really rebelling against God himself. And so with that, we'll close off it's kind of a short lesson tonight, shorter than usual, but just that's the way it turned out. So with that, any comments or questions that anyone might have? Oh, well, all right. So Martha.
Yeah, so in dealing with criticism like Jeremiah is having to do, it's pretty intense stuff. And as long as he's had to keep doing that, I kind of agree. That's a pretty natural reaction for him to have. But God says, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord, right? So
yeah,
go ahead.
But at the same time, this was something that God had already, he had already said he's bringing judgment on these guys.
Right.
And so, it wasn't, he's not trying to convince God against God's will that, you should zap these dudes. And, he's not trying to do that. He's just saying, get them. If you would, please, please,
Do it now.
please.
Well, yes, and I understand that point. But from a natural standpoint of view, when criticism comes into play, our fleshly reaction sometimes is going to be to get back. But in that instance, probably our next thought would be, God, forgive me for that. So thank goodness there's always room for repentance, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, all right. So I've gotten off the share here tonight. I don't know what the Zoom stuff was doing. Every once in a while, there's just funny stuff goes on. So, and that was one of the things tonight. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. So, okay. I thought I saw Scott and Lori's, your phone was up for a minute.
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for the prayers. Today is a much better day.
Well, that is good. I was thinking about you earlier today. Well, yeah. So that was good. I was outside for a little while today, changing the oil in my daughter's car. And I thought, man, it's hot out here. And I know that's what happened to you. You got too much sun and too much heat. So, and then too much something else. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
it's a better day.
You're feeling better.
Better day today by far, so much better. So again,
Good.
Thanks for the prayers, man. That prayer stuff, that's really effective,
Yeah, I think I read someplace that the real heartfelt, fervent prayer of a righteous man or a 5-year-old boy avails much.
Come on now.
Yeah, buddy.
Now you're preaching.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Good night. Lila Toe. All right. Any other comments or questions that someone might have? Yeah, Chanel.
I noticed that I received a morning email that's I think it's a sermon. Did I miss something? Your class on Sunday morning?
No. Sundays at 8:00. I put out I started this about 6 weeks ago. Well, right after Shavuot, because I was doing a daily devotional during the 50 days from Passover to Shavuot, and when we're counting the Omer, and then and it wasn't the first time. Last year and the year before and the year before, people said, well, why don't you just do this every day? Well, they don't realize how much time it takes. It takes that little 500 or 600, 700 words generally takes me, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours of just crafting this stuff to put it together to put out. So I said, well, I can do it once a week. And so what I've decided to do it every Sunday morning at 8:00. We will have a little blog. I guess that's the word that you use for it. That is based on the coming parsha, the coming parsha that we're going to have for next Shabbat service. And it may not be the same thing as what my sermon is going to be on, but it'll be something that is included in that parsha for you to look at, and hopefully it will encourage people then to read their parsha before they get to service on Saturday, and then that way they're kind of clued in a little bit, keyed in a bit. and then that way they're better equipped to make sure that what I'm telling them is from the Word of God and not something that I made up. Okay, because I want people to be critical and listen to what I'm saying and then dig into the Word and say, oh yeah, well, I'm going to get him on this one, but no, there he is. He's right. Okay, so no, that's not why I do that. I wanted to, people were asking me if I could do that, and I thought, well, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you also offer like a mentorship, like a discipleship?
That's what he's talking
Well, not as such. What we normally try to do is on our Saturday afternoon Torah classes, where we'd get more into the discipleship, and it's maybe it's not so much personalized for each person, but that's where I try to stick with the basics of our beliefs and what we how to walk out what we're doing. Yes. That's what we have available.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Rabbi,
Yes, ma'am.
my brother Andy wanted to ask a question or make a statement or something.
Hey, Rabbi, this is Andy.
Hey, good to have you with us, sir.
Well, I enjoyed listening. It's a nice perspective that I don't get to get. But anyway, I have a friend at church. I've been Catholic all my life, and I enjoy music. There's a buddy named Mike that plays drums and has so for so long in the music group.